What's good? What's good? We finally back at it again, man. Putting it together another beautiful and blessed day, man. Able to put it together with God's say, man. I hope everybody doing good. I hope everything going great. I will be uploading this to YouTube because I'm pretty sure I might not have too many people in tonight because, I ain't been around, ain't been around, man, but I got a lot of explaining to do. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of things to off my chest.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always?
I'm not. There's been a lot going on, man. Livelihood things. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we all human. We all of one nature. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so the world will do what it do sometimes, and mental health and putting together what we gotta put together is something that.
Let's go.
God dog. Shout out to Lola Bunny for the 13 months in a row. Appreciate you, pretty lady. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but y'all know life be doing what it's doing, man. That's W 13 months though. That's dedicated, But it took me a lot to actually hop back on the cam, man. I ain't gonna sit here and cap. I was genuinely trying, y'all. I was genuinely just trying to put it together where I could lock back in. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, sometimes it's a beat you to the flow, man. And what's good with you, Knox, man? I see you in the building too, brother. I'm like, but yeah, man, it's been a lot going on. I had to take it all in and recalibrate, you know what I'm saying, and put myself together, and really, get my head back where it needed to be, you know what I'm saying. Sometimes when you got everything moving how you want it to go and you got everything flowing how you want it to flow, sometimes, the devil will make sure you hit the flow, but it's nothing to bounce back, get back at it and stick to it like glue. For starters, a couple months back, I tried to hop back on at the midst of the moment when it first went down, but I tried to actually hop back on throughout this time period, even though I knew I was already mentally just deprived. You know what I'm saying? I'm like back in I believe it's end of September type or September time. My princess ended up at a friend's house and she ended up getting bit in the face by their pit bull or their bully. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and at that time, that had already put me to the floor because, it ended up being lifelong damages, and that had broke me down immediately because it was just a lot to that because, everybody know my princess is my whole world. I only have one child. She's always been with me, always been on my hip. She my whole world. So, when that had happened and, at the time of it going down, I'm thinking of it as, oh, she just got bit by a dog. Of course, I'm on my way, blase. But then I ended up finding out when I actually got to her because I met the family at the hospital with her because they wanted to meet me there because I was just going to come get her. But she was actually bitten her hand and she was bitten her eye, like on her face, and literally tore a whole piece out of her eyelid and etc. Like it was just bad. Like it was super duper bad. She ended up having to get a surgery on her eye, and stitches on her face and hand and forehead. And, as she was, getting through the process, I'm trying to be dad, I was trying to remain strong, a lot of things you don't really get to talk about because you're the king of the throne. So, you know, you still got to be the man you got to be for everybody, but mentally and physically and insidely and emotionally, I was wrecked because I literally had to look at my princess just go through the hell of wars. And I know many other people have experienced things of this nature or even worse. But for me, myself, this did actually break me up a little bit. This did shake me down majorly, you know? And to watch her have to go through, you know, from this hospital to this hospital, and they had to try to find the best surgeon and try to get her eye situated. And by the grace of God, her eye was able to be, you know, it was able to be good. You know what I'm saying? It's not excellent, but it was good, you know. And as I'm watching her still go through the process, you know, having to take care of her, and you know, I had to be with her like all day, and also for my beautiful women, we had to be there for her all day, and to watch that play out, it was rough, you know. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was rough because, like I say, nobody wants that to happen to, I mean, anybody in general, but for surely not your child. So watching her, you know, get through that and um, be such a strong young, you know, young queen. She was just such a young, excuse me, she was such a young, strong princess. My fault, y'all. This conversation already get to me just even talking about it all over again. And you know, she was having a little bit more warfare with, you know, being such that beautiful little girl, but having to go to school with, you know, with what she had going on, you know, an eye patch and, you know, just heck of stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and then her mom ended up wanting to come, or she ended up wanting to go stay with her mom because she didn't want to attend the school at the time. Because y'all know kids, y'all know how it is. It's annoying, it's embarrassing. Kids gonna talk in the whole nine, but you know, she ended up wanting to go stay with her mom because she didn't want to attend the school this year. And, you know, she was like, Daddy, I'll be back, you know, when the next school year starts. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, I respect it. I get it. Like, it's not easy. So I love that she's been so strong through this whole process. But, you know, that took me down a dark road already at the time. And I genuinely just had to take some time to myself, you know. And as time went along, you know, me and the family over here, we had other things that played in the role that, you know, changed the format of things and kind of touched home a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So we had to also move around that, you know, and we still had to keep it together on that end. I'm not even gonna get too deep into that, but you know, we had to handle what that was and keep everything afloat, you know. One of my lady's parents had passed. There was just a lot going on at one time, you know. And I respected it because, you know, when God's working, and when the devil's working, he trying to work even harder because he want to, you know, intrude on what God got going on, you know. So stood on business with it. Was still, you know, trying to be the king I need to be to make sure, you know, I handle everything that needs to be handled around here. But I really didn't have no time for streaming at that point because I didn't even have the energy. I didn't have the mindset. I felt like I was just reset already. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and for a second there, I wasn't even gonna continue to stream in because I was just out the loop, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but I had to look at my own videos. I had to look at my own, you know, YouTube channel and look at my own words and pay attention to the things that I always tell everybody else and, you know, the things that I speak about to people. You dig what I'm saying? I'm like, the motivation that I speak into people, I had to take into myself. And not to mention, of course, my ladies are so supportive throughout everything that's going on. You know, they motivate me too. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to keep me locked in too. Mind you, they've been telling me to hop back on for like shit since I got off. But just mentally, I had to get myself together for a second. I understand that. You know, even as I watched Kai make a video the other day, like mental health is a real thing, you know, so I just needed that time to prep myself and get myself right, you know, and stay focused on the mission and the task. Because in my head, I'm willing to put everything on the line to create generational wealth when it comes down to myself. But as far as creating generational wealth for everybody else, around me, so I had to stand on business and really just lock back in. I'm like, and excuse I know I usually talk a lot more smoother than this, but it's a sensitive topic. And I'm not really used to opening up. So, I'm generally just doing this for y'all to bring y'all into light on where I've been and what's been going on. I appreciate anybody that was still remaining subscribed or still subscribed or chose to follow. I appreciate all the support. I seen all the DMs and I do see the stuff in the Discord, the messages in the Discord. I did try to get back to everybody at different times. If I didn't get back to you, just realize I'm still busy outside of this. So it's hard for me to tend to all of these social medias and all this other stuff, I'm like, and with everybody having a lot going on, I still had to lock back in. I did not want to go into this new year not hopping back on this camera and letting y'all know at least something of what was going on, because, like I said, I'm a human being too. I might be a strong-minded young man, you know what I'm saying? But I still go through things and I still got to make sure I'm here. And I don't want to be rubbing that energy off on nobody, So when I get on here, I like to be motivating. I like to be fun. I like to be entertaining. I like it to be something that we can all embrace and enjoy. I'm still an upcoming streamer. In the real world, I might have a lot of motion, but as far as the camera go, I'm still an upcoming streamer, an upcoming YouTuber. So it's like I try to be very smooth on, staying active. It's only my first year doing this, so I dedicated myself to it fully and gave it my all. As y'all can see the setups and all the little things and gadgets that I be putting in play. That's just me trying to remain locked in and keep growing and keep building and keep getting better. That's one of my cups in this that I love to do, because I feel like you can't hop into nothing and expect it to be, for one, with what you already got, and for two, who you already are. Because there's so many people in this world that you might be something to this a selective amount of people, or this selective crowd of people, but at the same time, when you're trying to expand your horizons and grow, you got to be willing to expand the horizons with the same input that you put into that made you who you was over there. And you got to put in that same groundwork. There is no skipping no steps. So I do apologize for, having to disappear for a bit, but it was needed, but I am back. I'm not 100% back, but I'm back enough to make sure that I still, put in the work, I'm like, I do have a lot of beautiful things planned for us, especially this upcoming year. A lot of IRL content, some upgrades on, how I maneuver my content. I know I'm usually the one that's holding the camera and stuff like that. So a lot of things we could barely see, but I got a lot of upgrades going on. I got some things going on with the gang where we're going to make sure y'all get to enjoy the visual, I'm like, but yeah, we definitely going to crank it up this year. I'm not taking no time off. I know I probably will not be all the way locked in like I need to be until the first few streams. Streaming is like riding a bike. You gotta, how to ride it, but you still gotta, lock in. I mean, a motorcycle too, not a bicycle. But you know how to ride it, but you still gotta lock back in and you still gotta get back comfortable. I feel like I kind of gotta build everything back up again, but at the same time, I don't necessarily feel like I gotta build everything back up again, but there is a lot of parts of it that I still gotta get back to where it was and even better. So of course I choose to stay committed, stay focused, and definitely make sure I keep y'all in the loop. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but as kings, we go through many things, but that's how we got to keep this bad boy popping. You know what I'm saying? What it do, man? My dog LC in the building, man. What's good, brother? I'm like, but yeah, definitely just wanted to give y'all, a little background on what's been going on. But, I'm definitely going to make sure we crank this bad boy up times 10. I didn't even just have time to think about it. I had time to make moves about it. So I'm gonna take advantage of the time that I just took off, and I'm gonna make sure we crank this bad boy up like never before. You hear me? I'm like, we gonna crank it up like never before. I'm like, but that's enough of the sob shit, giving y'all the background, you know.
Really, nigga?
I know. I'm done with the extra. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but I did want to catch y'all up and keep y'all in the loop, though, you know. It's YP100 for a reason. I'm going to always keep everything 100, you know, but we going to fast forward and shit, we going to lock back in, you know. I'm like, I'm trying to mix up a 30-day run, you know, this upcoming Christmas, but I got a few more things that I want to put together so it makes sense, you know. I don't want to just be doing shit just to do shit and y'all just sitting here watch me do this. Now I want to make sure I mix it up so we able to have a good time for a long time and we able to keep going up from here. You know, I was networking and locking in with many people that I feel like we can make this interesting with, and we definitely gonna do just that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so make sure y'all stay tuned, man. And we gonna make sure we put this bad boy together. I'm like, also throughout this mix up, we had a few mishaps on a lot of things going on at home. You know, I just, like I said, I just felt like the devil was working. You know what I'm saying? But we still gonna remain strong, and we gonna keep making sure everybody gets to enjoy the show. I'm like, but y'all know, ain't no weeping coming from me or no sorrowness though. You know, just making sure y'all got a little update on what's been going on now. I'm like, but I got the whole family coming down here for Christmas. Y'all know I tried to give y'all a little bit of IRL last year on it, but I didn't have all the gadgets I have now. So last year was a little harder for me to mix it all the way up, you know. But I definitely got the gadgets now. So this year, I'm going to make sure y'all in tune and y'all can see what the poly life looking like all the way. You know, mama's in the kitchen, having fun, cooking, all the little bad kids running around the house. You dig what I'm saying? I'm like, but it's definitely fun as hell. I will tell you that. It's actually my favorite time of the year. Most expensive time of the year, though. Let me tell you that. But it's definitely my favorite time of the year. I'm like, I couldn't even say it's the most expensive time of the year. That's cap, because when the gang birthday be coming around, they Queen's Day, oh, that be beating the pockets to the floor. Beating the pockets to the floor. I'm like, but this is another expensive time of the year that I like to take serious and make sure everybody can enjoy their family time and put it together, man. I'm like, but for tonight though, we keeping it simple. I did just want to hop up on here and give y'all some type of combo, some type of invoice on what was going on. I felt like if I disappeared for too long, y'all was never gonna